closure of Showore's defense. Moving on to the cable newspaper, Shetima, Tinubu demands commendation for economic reforms, not condemnation. We should be getting into that this morning. Rufai Hanga, NDC's only northern senator quits party. In the Daily Post, 2027, come tell Nigerians primary secondary schools you attended. Kalu challenges Tinubu. We must win Osun election. Uzodinma tells APC campaign council. In the Tribune newspaper, Ekiti government issues ultimatum on abandoned estate lands, warns encroachers. EFCC to Lasera adopts stricter enforcement, blacklist fraudulent estate agents, sorry, blacklist fraudulent estate agents. And finally, from the pen pushing newspaper this morning, Ololu Festival recording. I am not dead. Female TikToker breaks silence on death rumor. Pen pushing member Ayola Ajasa appointed Dean of Student Affairs, Chrisland University, Abeokuta. Congratulations to the newly appointed Dean of Chrisland University. Okay, so we're going to slide right in to the analysis of the headlines that caught our attention. Okay, so our daily news review family, Fumi is on a work trip for this week, so I'll be doing this alone. I would appreciate your messages, your calls, your support to keep this show going. Don't let me do it alone. Okay. So for this morning, we are going first with yes, Prince Adeyemi Adeniyi has come out to say they should allow him to testify because he's being made the scapegoat. And since we've been talking about this PFIPC scandal for a very long time here, and even my darling Fumi has been saying, oh, Nima, let's just skip. Well, we can't skip this because it's a new development in the case, and as media, it is our duty to bring such things to you. Anyway, we are live on YouTube. You can listen to us on YouTube at WFM 917, or you can listen to us on the go via our website www.wfm917.com. Time check, it is 7:36 past 7. This is the daily news review on Women Radio WFM 91.7. Now let us slide in to the statement by Prince Adeyemi Adeniyi, where he said we should allow him to testify because he's being made the scapegoat here. And this happened on the 3rd of August, which was yesterday. His legal team issued a statement asking the House of Reps to allow him to testify. This issue is being investigated by the committee at the National Assembly in Abuja this week on Wednesday, July 29, 2026, where the police declined to bring Adeyemi before the lawmakers because he was in custody. So now he has asked the House of Representatives that clearance issue that they were like, okay, he cannot appear without clearance. They should issue an administrative clearance to allow him to testify in the investigative hearing of the local chamber. The Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Diso, last week on the 29th, told lawmakers that they can't produce Adeyemi before the panel because they needed court clearance. But on Sunday, in a statement that Adeyemi made also, he said that any legislative report without his testimony is fundamentally fraud. And his legal team, let's note that it is led by Festus Akigbe. Adeyemi's legal team said their client was being framed as an isolated mastermind impostor who single-handedly fabricated a federal government agency. I hope it was noted that I said when we started this discussion on this PFIPC, beg your pardon. I said that are they trying to say we Nigerians are unintelligent? It might have sounded like what was this girl, what was this lady trying to say? Like why am I just making noise about them trying to say Nigerians are unintelligent? And unintelligent is honestly the best word I can use because what are you taking us for? I mentioned that day that see. And yes, Mrs. Oboli also backed me up that day that are you trying to say Adeyemi is the fall guy? Don't other people have a hand in it? Because it boggles the mind when they come out to say Prince Adeyemi started the agency, he scammed Nigeria and Nigerians because he didn't scam the government. Anything in government concerns we Nigerians. So are they trying to say he did it all on his own without any other person's intervention in it? Are you trying to say we Nigerians are not intelligent? Because now he has come out to say, without his testimony, there is a fundamental flaw. He came out to say, "Oh, please, they want to use me as the scapegoat." We saw even last week the head of service came out to say, "Oh, there was a mistake in the report she submitted." So I want to understand why is it that things are now coming up, they are popping up. Our sis has joined. Good morning, Adeolu Adeyemi. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Lina. I'm good. How are you too? And good
I'm
morning
fine.
to all our family around the world.
Okay, so Adeyemi, were you listening to me? When did you hear me when I said that they were trying to make Nigerians seem unintelligent? Because before the issue was Adeyemi was your namesake. Adeyemi was the only one who was taking the fall for this thing when they went to arrest his parents, they put his parents in custody. So now, and before he wasn't speaking of that, whoa, I'm not the only one. The only person he sort of indicted was the chief of staff, Femi Gbajabiamila. And the presidency came out to say, oh no, Gbajabiamila has nothing to do with this. So now, to yesterday, in his statement, he has now come out to say, you see, I am not the only one. I am just being the scapegoat. Let me testify. Get the clearance. Let me go to court to testify. Ademi, what say you about this whole issue?
Well, thank you very much, Lina. Um, like you said, that are they taking us for a ride? We are not
Yes,
fools. The
at all.
Nigerians are intelligent people. That's not debatable anywhere in the world anyway. We are the kind of people that when things are happening, we just want to look and see how it's going to go. But all that does not mean that we are fools.
Mm.
As it is, what everybody is talking about and what we are asking, and like what Adeyemi rightly said. You see, if we talk about this issue sometimes ago that look, it is not only Adeyemi that is involved. Everybody whose name were mentioned must come and give their own account. That
Oh,
is
yes.
where you can talk about fair hearing. Adeyemi must be heard. You can't just say you are investigating a particular issue and the person who is involved is not being, put before the panel to be interviewed, to be interrogated, to say his own part of it. And the other party, who is also a principal being mentioned, you are not calling him fault. But you have interrogated, you said you have called the other people from CBN and the other arms. Then what about the main person that was mentioned? Bajabi Amila has to answer questions. Adeyemi must be heard. That is what is called fair hearing. And at the same time, we must understand this.
Hmm.
The presidency ought not to come for Bajabi Amila in the first instance.
Okay.
When the matter came up, it is for Bajabi Amila is not an institution, it's an individual. that
Mm.
works in an institution and is being alleged of, malpractices because that's what it is. So why can't he come open and say no? I don't have anything to do with it. And the only way that this thing can go, that every Nigerian, you and I today, can say yes, this thing has been handled free and fair, like we say in our politics, free and fair politics. But when you want to you're talking about accountability and transparency, you must be able to allow Bajabi Amila to come and answer questions.
Yes.
You must allow Adeyemi to be heard. Adeyemi must be heard. If you do not do that, then you have not done the right thing. Then that means your investigation is void. There
Mm.
is nothing to that investigation. All you have just done is just to showcase to Nigeria that you are doing something, whereas you are not going anywhere.
Mm.
So, as it is, for the National Assembly, for the House of Rep to be able to, to cover their shame, because from every indication, it is now obvious to every one of us that this country, the so-called politicians, those people who are there managing the affairs of this nation, they are only there for themselves. They don't care about what happens to you and I. And that is why something of this magnitude can happen and they want to throw it under the carpet just to cover it, just like that. It's not going to happen. We are watching and we will not keep quiet. That's the honest truth. We will not keep
Because even
quiet.
in this article by the Vanguard newspaper, it was written that, what do you mean the chief, like the main engines in the federal government's administration are saying, okay, they have no idea about what is happening. It boggles the mind, Adeyemi, doesn't it?
Yes, you see, all being said, there is no way Adeyemi will be able to perpetuate what he did without certain people in government who he had their backings. And not just anybody. These are those people up there. And like we know, already a name has been mentioned. Not just a name. We have seen how the whole change went through. The House of the what's it called? The Secretary to the State Federal Government is involved. The financial the CBN is involved. The Ministry of Finance is involved. You see, all these change. Everybody that is being indicted, don't let me use the word indicted. Everybody being called, being
Mentioned.
alleged, being alleged, must be called to answer questions. When that is done, that is when we can see, oh, these people are actually doing the right thing. Until then, they are not doing anything right, and we are not going to, like I said, we are not going to be quiet. We will continue to talk, and not just talk as it is. We will demand for it that everything must follow due process. Everybody that is involved, everybody that whose name has been mentioned, must be called forth to answer questions. And that is the only way we can go. That's where we can say we are getting it right when it comes to corruption. If we do not do that, that means we are still floating, swimming, dining with corruption. That's just the implication. So if the government wants to prove to us that actually it's tackling corruption, then they need to do the needful. Adeyemi must be heard. And everyone whose name has been mentioned must be called to answer questions.
Okay, so Adeyemi, we've talked about this last week. I don't remember if it was you or with another analyst per se. But I know we mentioned EFCC and the fact that now um, cases, investigations that were handled of similar types that were handled by the EFCC before now are being handled by the ICPC. Now, every little thing, ICPC, no longer EFCC. So now, in this same article of Adeyemi speaking up, that still let me testify, it was mentioned that This agency, the PFIPC, had no legal backing, and as such, ICPC comes in to investigate the matter. Do you think the way okay, not we, I'm not in government, the way ICPC is called on to investigate every matter, is that hanky panky? Or do you think, oh well, after all, that is what the ICPC is for? No issues. They should be the ones to investigate such issues.
Well, when you look at it, ICPC and EFCC.
Mm-hmm.
ICPC majorly, they have been designed in such a way that they handle any matter that involves civil servants, the government. So I think that's the reason why ICPC are majorly the one who is looking at it at the moment. But when they are done with their investigation, normally they will always transfer it also to EFCC because there are some parts of it. Because as it is, Adeyemi is an individual. He's not a government official. So EFCC still have to come in and play their part, investigate the matter as it is. But normally, ICPC, we are always drawn into matter like this at the initial stage. So, looking at the way things are going, we are looking at where is ICPC actually going to take us in this matter? Are they actually going to draw everybody that needed to be drawn into the matter? Are they going to question everybody whose name has been mentioned? Particularly those who are in government. They must be called to answer questions. And the investigation should not be just be that which is just on the surface. You see, it is not just the forgery alone that is in the offing. We must look at the other things. How is it how was it that Adeyemi was able to perpetuate what he did? How was he able to establish and have an office in a government establishment?
The
So
one,
all these
the
questions
one
need to be answered. So that's why, as it is today, we are not going to keep quiet, especially the media houses. They are not going to keep quiet, and also I know that Nigerians, are not keeping quiet on this matter. We all are going to see the end of this matter, and any heir that needs to roll must roll. Anybody that needs to pay for it must pay for it. There is no circuit cow. There is no immunity. Only the governor and the president has that immunity. So if you are found wanted and you are a government functionary person, then you have to face the consequence of your action. So if you are indicted, then you leave. So as it is, and like somebody rightly said that how do you make how do you make the same person who brought the issue the umpire? In that course, there won't be fair hearing
yeah.
because there is a nazim to that, you know, that you cannot be a judge in your own matter.
Yeah.
So that is why Gaji is being accused that no, you cannot be the one who raised the issue and be the one who is saddled with the responsibility of investigating and creating. You will not be able to do the right thing. And by the way, when you look at the body language and the so far investigation and what is the conclusion that he said he has done, you know that he has not done a thorough job. So with that, there is still need that this thing, this particular issue is still going further, and we have not seen the end. It's just the beginning. I know that we are just starting because but Jabir Miller, if he's found wanting, cannot be seen.
Adeyemi. Hmm. Well, thank you very much for your submission, Adeyemi. It's 7 minutes to 8 this beautiful Tuesday morning, and you are listening to the Daily News Review. I'm Hassan Matla, and you've been listening to the voice of our analyst, Adeolu Adeyemi. We were discussing the PFIPC scandal, where Adeyemi said he should be allowed to testify since it is his issue. The phone lines would be open shortly, and when they are, you can call us on 07000 or 09155 or 0800 1235 917. For now, you can send your text or WhatsApp or message or even voice notes. So 07031 756 537 or 08155 917 You can listen to us on YouTube at WFM 917 or on our website at www.wfm917.com. Okay, Adeyemi, we're going to go to this article from the Premium Times newspaper where it says Kano Assembly passes bill regulating private school fees. The legislation titled the Kano State Private and Voluntary Institution Board Bill 2026 introduces measures designed to strengthen regulatory oversight of private schools and protects parents from arbitrary fee hikes. The Kano State House of Assembly on Monday passed a law to regulate the fees charged by private schools in the state. The legislation titled the Kano State Private and Voluntary Institution Boards, like I said, introduced measures designed to strengthen regulatory oversight of private schools and protect parents against fee hikes. The bill was passed following its third reading by the Clerk of the House, Bashir Diso, and its subsequent consideration by the Committee of the Whole during plenary. Speaking after the bill's passage, House Majority Leader Lawan Husseini stated that the amendment requires private primary and secondary schools to consult with their parent-teacher associations before implementing any fee increase. Furthermore, the law stipulates that any approved increase will not exceed 10% of the existing tuition fees. The executive bill now awaiting the assent of Governor Abba Yusuf stipulates that the position of executive secretary of the private and voluntary institution boards must be held in by a retired or seasoned educationist who has attained at least grade level 14 in the public service. Mr. Husseini added that private schools are prohibited from charging students more than 10% above the official registration fee set by the external examination bodies such as WAEC, NECO, and MBTE. According to the lawmaker, these provisions form part of a broader effort to streamline administration and elevate educational standards throughout the state. So now, Adeyemi, we saw that the government said they were going to increase the WAEC fees, and after outrage from the people, it was suspended. Not only private schools now. I know the issue is private schools, but you see government schools where they hike fees. Even universities now, not just primary and secondary school. In the universities, you see fee hike, hostel fee hike. Um, they hike a lot of fees, and most times it's always by 100%. Uh, the least they do, Ademi, the least they do is hiking by 30%. And I always say, isn't there any regulatory bodies in place for the universities? You see that the Nigerian Association of University Students, yeah, yes, that's the name. They come out to say, okay, no, enough is enough. You people have to regulate this thing. But when we come to primary and secondary schools, we go with, oh, it's a capitalist Nigeria. If you can't afford to send your children to such schools, there are other schools with lesser fees for your children to go to. Fees are hiked every time. Every term like this is with something new. And if the children can't afford, if the parents, the children don't pay themselves. If the parents of children can't afford to pay the school fees, they withdraw their children from the school, look for lesser options. And even now, lesser options are more at the ME. Before we used to say in Nigeria, when you can't go for more, you go for lesser. Now, lesser is more. Lesser is more now.
Thank
I
you very much.
want to talk.
Thank you very much, Lima. You see, looking at this matter as it is, it's quite unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position, particularly with those who are at the ends of affair. When you look at where all came from,
Yes.
you know that they are all beneficiaries of free education. So, and it's
Mm.
quite unfortunate, these same people that enjoy this privilege are the same people that are now encumbering the masses, their problem through school fees. So, and making education out of the reach for the common man, children. So it's unfortunate. I don't know what kind of human being we are as a people, you know, haven't enjoyed free education, and not just only free education, that the job opportunity were there for them. You know, they didn't lack job when they were leaving the university. As they are leaving their university, they were all gaining employment one way or the other, and they had the opportunity to car loans and all this they enjoy in the course of their time. Now, when they are now saddled with the responsibility to manage the affair of the nation and the people, they are now encumbering the burden of the people. It is pathetic. It is pathetic. So, talking about Kano State, it's laudable. It is laudable because when you look at schools, you'll see that almost every session they increase the school fees. And like you rightly said, there is no school fees that is being increased just by 5 or 10%. The least they increase is 30%, which actually will create more burden for the parents of the children, and whereby if the parents cannot meet up, the children will have to leave that school. So it's a
Yes.
problem. Now, what can we do, particularly the university? What can we do, particularly the government school? Now, a step has been taken in the direction of the private school in Kano. What about the
Mm.
public schools there? What are we doing? Yes, they will say most of the public schools, the government are the one paying. Like, okay, let's say maybe in the southwest, I don't know what goes on now, but we know that the government to some extent covers some bills in the public school.
Yes, they
Uh,
do. Paid my school
so
fees, secondary school.
Oh, wow. So that's that. But what about the private secondary schools in the Southwest, where education is seen as, oh, the in thing? Yes, we all know that education is compulsory, it's a must for every child. But these so called schools are taking advantages
Mm.
of parents because they know that we want to send our children to school so that they can be educated, so that they can live a better life for tomorrow. Now, there's a school in Nigeria here in Lagos that a session costs as much as 40 something million naira. A
Secondary school,
secondary school.
university.
A secondary school. Yes.
Wow.
So I don't know why the government will sit down there
Mm.
and see such a school. Who do you who are the people that their children will go to that school? That is the reason why you continue to see corruption in our system. Because they want to send their children there, then they have to do something. They will soil their hand. And these are government personnel, functionaries that send their children to that school. So how do they come about with that money? How do they come? Where did they get the money from? How much is their take home? How much is their set or whatever they said they enjoy, their emolument they enjoy with their office? That is why cases like this happen. That is why it can be said that Bajabia collected 400 million. These are the
Mm.
reasons. So until there is a legislation that will deal with such that every school, you can't just, yes, when you look at it, you say the private school that sometimes will say we are feeling for them because of the cost of running costs of the school, looking at the fueling of the vehicle, the classroom, maintaining the classroom, giving it a standard, so that it can be conducive for the student to learn. Yes, but does it mean that it has to be every time? Does it mean it has to be every session that you have to continue to increase the fee? So that is why it's important as it is. Now that Kano has taken the first step, then I believe that all other states has to look in that direction, and not just that direction only, the university, even government-owned university. But they will say they have provided student loan, so that will cover for it. But is that not a burden on? Is
So
that not a burden on the students
the
at
issue
the end
with
of the day?
university is not even the school fees. Yeah, we have issues with the school fees because when I was in 100 level, I think I paid 50 something thousand. I don't remember exactly. In 200 level, I paid 30 something thousand. In 300 level, I paid 40 something thousand. But now at DME, 200 level students are paying close to 200,000 naira. The gap is very wide. So yes, we have issues with the school fees, but also these private bodies on the campus, when you hear the fees they take for accommodation in universities, your mind will first fly. Like for how many years?
Next space. It's called best space.
This space new, just room, just one small corner with light and water. You will be
Mm.
paying. See, university students can testify anywhere. Just there to
Yeah.
come. And you ask for how many years. You see, you mentioned 46 million. Someone was telling me that school fees for he and his siblings, secondary school, is 10 million naira. And I'm like, what? Okay, what do they teach you in your school? Maths, English, biology, physics. The only difference is that they do more foreign languages, and they have art and crafts. And I'm like, even then, even with extracurricular activities, 10 million naira is nobody regulating these things. But then we are in Nigeria.
It's way far too much. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's where you are causing oppression. That is where you are putting the people on the line that they need to run eta sketa. They need to do whatever they can do just to send their children to school. That is why we will continue to have fraud everywhere. We will continue to have corruption. We will continue to have ritual killing in this country. That is why everybody, we are all on the run just to make ends meet. Not only making ends meet, even to send our children to school. As a parent, if you can't send your children to school, you feel disappointed with yourself. But you don't want your children to be left behind because they are your future. The moment your children are left behind, you
Okay,
are being left behind.
Adeyemi, Adeyemi, excuse me, we have a call.
Hello. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Evangelist Dixon.
Good morning, Mema. Good morning, Mr. Adeyemi.
Good morning, sir.
Mm. When God, when God did it, apparently they invited you. Police don't think you should try. Mema, many times I comment, I make comments. I just make comments, but I don't use. I mean, man has it. You never do anything to work anything. But somebody comes and say, please, for God's sake, I don't like it. I say what I want to correct myself. I'm not defending myself. I'm trying to correct myself. And I thank God that I not. Say I have Bible, I have Quran, I have Bible. So Jesus Christ is for everybody. People who can spread it no matter who. It's so kind of stuff that you can imagine like I just like people and I said religion and tribe. It's some of us don't know that when God created the world, God created Adam, and all of us are from Adam and Eve. When it comes to God, God don't know that it's really God of us. And when I tell him was looking after me, No, don't for them. Because now that's what the attention. No, they are relatively easy. And those that attacked me before are not the one, even trying to do and doing and I did not have Bible and Quran not have that's what I'm telling you. Quran that's my what we understand that Quran believer we have Bible. And when we are true believer, we don't need to say Amigo and believer and Muslim. That please just work on that. I have to follow. I don't think maybe I'm here I think that this is people I like what you say. Meditation. Some of our leaders say because what I tell you. You know what I'm telling you? And this is a function of public scholar. It's not going to report. We don't have the power. In public scholar, what they do is not like problem is for us. For that and not for us. I want to play that. The leaders, the men, them are not telling me. You know that they go for God, miracles. You know why some pride of to see that salvation, which is what God for us. Absolutely. It's like this house. Because it is like decided. We may expose this. Not they step this. And I thank God for what we do. Take police and the law and the people that because they know this is the God. They should not say this. They not do anything. As for them, well, I should happen. But when you go, they know this. They should be I want but no place in the Bible or where they are command. If you hate somebody, or you hate somebody, you know that you cannot make it. We cannot use the religion. You don't use it not be a person. That's the rule. So, the first thing is not that one. Don't want to do that about it. It cannot happen in the church. We expose you, and that's why it's better in this. God bless you. On this local government, I like what you like to on this local government of power and state governments are getting one on one. So it's better hold them accountable. And the vision should hold these governments accountable for what they have done. Actually, some like what they are you know, like the government is say, "Oh, this may fall is taking something." It's not kind of accompanying their school. They take their students for this. So the way is not going to be this school. The vision of our state police that this government cannot do anything. They have done something. It will not be enough. I cannot come and lie. It's not enough. And we need to know that what you are going to do differently. Let me stop there. So sorry for taking your time. I'm very, very sorry. God bless God. Nigeria is great. If and other things if you say, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Evangelist Dixon, for calling. God bless you too. Okay, and Evangelist Dixon, we actually questioned Prince yesterday against calling in and always saying he also has Quran and Bible and Assalamu alaikum the way he says it. So once again, please don't be offended. Okay, Adeyemi, I'm going to take some voice notes and messages that we have this morning.
This is my name. I'm calling from Victoria. On this upcoming election in Osun State, the question that is Adeyemi performing is debatable. Or depend on the side you look into. Yes, when I went to Osun State, I tell people Adeyemi, from what I saw in infrastructure, I think the guy do well. But it is unfortunate when I later go back, there's some bridge that this same Governor Adeleke built. When they took me up the bridge, by the first time I go, the bridge is on construction. Some of the bridge are defective. I don't just know, maybe it's the fault of the construction or whatever the case may be. And when we are talking of agriculture, I eat food in Lagos here, buy food in canteen. And the same canteen, in the same canteen when I go to Osun State, when I buy food, I'm telling you, it's time two of what I buy in Lagos State. I know, is it not Osun State? From what the information I gather, and when I went and the community did not even invest in farmers. This farmer said they paid money for the tractor, which they used to cultivate some of their land. And I'm talking to you, so they pay money since January, February, and it's not yet their turn. And I asked the question, is the tractor, they say it's not much. I don't know why they want to for each tractor. Because whatever we want to do in this life, once you have no food to eat, forget it, we don't have food. As far as I'm concerned, the issue about said on the area of agriculture, it did not do anything for the farmer, which is wrong. Whatever you want to do, either you are a soldier, you are a doctor, you are a journalist, you must eat. Food is primary objective. But unfortunately, the governor is lacking that. I hope if you win the second time, you should look into that because it is very important for everybody to have food on their table. I'm calling from Ikorodu. Additional overseas, my name, I'm calling from Ikorodu. On the increment of school fees, it's across board. It's not limited to secondary, primary, even including university. The worst part of it is that even in the university and the accommodation, they rise so much to the extent that, like my own son who is in the University of Illinois, we pay 180,000 naira, 180,000 naira last year for bed accommodation, but now it has been increased to almost 250,000 for beds in the university. Although it's a private hosted in the university, but let me tell you, this increment will continue, most especially on the so-called accommodation and housing rent. We continue because since 2023, when this current government come on board, the price of cement is less than 5,000 naira per pack. Likewise, the ton of an iron rod is less than 800,000. As I'm speaking with you today, the price of a bag of cement is 13,000 naira per pack. While a ton of standard iron rod is almost 1 million, 1.4 million, or 1,300,000 for the good standard ton of iron rod. Don't tell me. When people clamor that house rent in Lagos is increasing, it's not limited to Lagos alone. It's across the federation. If you go to Osun State, the increment in Oyo State, Calabar, Abuja, the only place I don't know much about it is in the northern area. But go to South, go to Anambra, go to Abia, the increments of rent is across Nigeria, and this thing will continue until federal government expands the capacity of iron, like, or maybe privatize the and still that former president and the increment, as I said, is as a result of federal government new dimension of construction road. The road they have started construction in 2023 is concrete, and this almost based on iron and cement, and that is my sector. The type of concrete they are using and the level of cement they are using, those things cannot come until they expand the cement factory production and expand the iron factory production. Without this, the massive road this federal government is constructing with cement and concrete, this cement and iron rod, this two is not coming down. It will be very difficult to have more housing construct without much money pay on each. Good morning, Adekina was my name, calling from the group.
Okay, so Adeyemi, do you have a response to the voice note and the caller before we take the other messages? You are muted, Adeyemi.
Thank you, Additional. Thank you, Additional, for your concern, and it's very, very germane. When you look at like we already said, talking about the school fees, which has been taken care of in terms of the loan given out by the federal government, but what about the accommodation, where the student has to rest their head at the end of the day? Activity is 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 becoming out of the reach of the ordinary man. So, and like Wasi rightly said, um, the construction part, you talk about the prices of cement and the prices of the iron rod. It's not only iron rod. Here in Lagos, almost everything that has to do with construction is expensive. Talking about sand, just sand alone. Sand alone, to get sand in Lagos, sharp sand, you pay as much as 260, 260,000. That's sharp sand just for for the mortar that you use in setting your blocks. And the soft sand are more expensive. The soft sand is as much as 350, 400. Then the granite that you use for your concrete is as much as 600 and something to 700 and something thousand for 30 tons. So these are the problems that we are being faced with in Lagos, and like you said, almost every part of Nigeria. The only place where you have it easy is where you have enough stones, granite stones. That's where you have these rocks that are being, broken into granites. So maybe there the prices of granite may be lesser than that which comes to Lagos because there is no uh, rock anywhere in Lagos. The granite that we use in Lagos is being bought from Ijebu Ode. That's the closest to Lagos from Ijebu, then from Ibadan. So you understand the cost of transportation. We actually hike all this, and like you rightly said that with the construction that is ongoing in Nigeria, you see, you realize that even the vehicles that are available for the contractors and the house builders, they are now lesser because most of the vehicles are now being diverted, to convey most of the building material, construction materials to the coastal road and all other roads in Nigeria where business construction is ongoing. So with that, we have so many issues in this respect. Like you rightly said, what are we doing about our Jakuta steel rolling mill?
Hmm.
What are we doing? By now, we ought to be rolling out so many things. Oh, yes, we have so many steel companies, like the Universal Steel, all these steel, Independent Steel all around here. Yes, but what they are producing is not enough. Mostly when we say we are like you say you want to use the best of the material, you want to use the best iron. The best iron are imported iron. They are being imported from outside the country. So why is it that when we have this as natural resources, why can't we harness it? Why can't we put it to good use for the masses of this nation? So that you see, one of the most important things that government should be concerned about outside, the moment you talk about food is out of the way, accommodation is next.
Yes.
Accommodation is important, and we have deficit accommodation in Nigeria. When you see people, you realize that the people that are living in shanty houses are more than those who are living in good houses. Because why? They cannot afford it. And yet those shanty houses are not cheap. They pay as much as 40,000 every month. You can imagine that. So what are we talking about? So the government has to do something. We cannot continue to live like this in the midst of abundance, and we are suffering. What is the essence of governance? Where I used to say it, I said it here some time ago. It's unfortunate that the so-called business elite in Nigeria, they care not about the Nigerian people. All
Hmm.
they care about is money, profits. Yes, that's the essence of going to business, but not the profit to the extent that the people have to die. Not to the extent of your profit that the people have to be destitute. No, it
Hmm.
shouldn't be. And we have said it. You see, what I discovered is that all these business entities in Nigeria, you find out that